So apparently Gwen Stefani is now a MAGA person, and I guess I should not be surprised because Gwen Stefani probably has always been this way, considering she used to culture appropriate to the gods. I'm not even gonna lie. She culturally appropriated to the gods. Because literally, like, she would do the most culture appropriative things, and yet the music would eat. And then we would just be like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And it really was a big deal. And we should have called her out for it a long time ago. But the music was good. And so we sort of kind of like let it slide. But no, whether it was, culture appropriating Indian culture, even though she had an Indian boyfriend, um, from the band, no doubt. Um, and, even though she had an Indian boyfriend at the time, and then they would break up, she would culture appropriate his culture by wearing the bindi. Now, I'm sure he didn't have a problem with it because he was dating her. And so I guess she got kind of a pass on that. But again, and then after that, it just kept on going. Because then she would do the Harajuku girls with the Japanese culture. She would do the Cholo culture with that one music video. And she would eventually end up doing Native American cultural appropriation and Jamaican cultural appropriation. And she would try to make the excuse that, she's in a ska band, but like, you're an American ska band, first of all. And it's fine when the Jamaican or black person who's in the band, the featured, like, black person or Jamaican person who's in the band at the time to do the Jamaican or black thing, that's fine for them. But it's not fine for you, ma'am, because you're white. And just so people know, the originator of No Doubt was actually black, but he is no longer a part of the band. Look it up. But it's like, ma'am, you're white. Like, you're white. Like, you're white. Like, I need you to realize that you're white. And it was so funny because a few years ago, that article came out about Gwen Stefani and culture appropriation. And her trying to act like, well, I've always felt that I was a Japanese person. Like, I've always felt that way. Like, I just feel like I have culture, the Japanese culture in me. Like, and I was like, you're white from California, fam, you're from California, ma'am, like, stop. And I think what would have really put her over the edge is if she tried to culturally appropriate black hip-hop culture, then somebody would have had something to say about it, right? But I think because the music ate too much, especially during her pop years, a lot of people started to glom onto her that weren't fans of her before when she was in No Doubt. And they glommed onto her, especially millennials. And the music just was good, so they were like, screw it, right? And she sort of did try to do the whole black hip-hop thing with Hollow Black Girl. But to my knowledge, and I just thought I didn't know things because I grew up in the suburbs, so maybe there's some words I don't know as a black person. But apparently, Hollow Black Girl does not exist. Like, nobody knows what that word means. So it's like, so you're just making up words to just try to seem cool? Interesting. And that's the problem with these, like, pop artists and stuff. They think that they're doing something by, putting... And then it sucks because the music will be good. So you kind of ignore it. Or you're just young enough that you don't even think about these things. And then years later, it's like, oh, right. She was culture appropriating the entire time. I get it. I mean, it's the same thing with J-Lo. But, like, I'm just like... I guess we're not surprised. And now that she is married to Blake Shelton and everything, she's turning more and more into her little country roots. And I guess being country means being MAGA and, being on that little prayer app and trying to get people to, do her little Christian thing. And I mean, no disrespect to Christians or whatever, but like, it's just interesting for her based on the music that she made back in the day. Like, not just her pop music, but being in a ska punk band, like, if you listen to some of that music, that Gwen Stefani would not be a fan of this Gwen Stefani. And she would have been like, where is your life taking you, ma'am? Like, it's really weird. So I know that Gen Xers and millennials are like confused, but like I think this was always her. I just think this was always Gwen Stefani. She was always this way, and we just have to get used to it because the Gwen Stefani we knew is gone. The Gwen Stefani we knew is gone. And unless her and Blake Shelton get like a divorce or something, and then she just tries to, come back into the limelight and, put out another album or music or something and try to be there and try to act like she's doing whatever, then I think we've lost her, and that's just is what it is, okay? But yeah, I think this is always who she's been. We just ignored it back then because she culturally appropriated a little too well, and we just ignored everything. So yeah, but I'm not that surprised that she's now a MAGA person or, you know, super religious. Like, I'm not too surprised, but at the end of the day, this Gwen Stefani, the old Gwen Stefani would spit on the new Gwen Stefani. Just saying. Just saying.